Hello, Anna. Anna will give us her presentation about publication and collaboration anomalies in academic papers originating from a Russian paper mill. The floor is yours, Anna.
Thank you very much. And I would like to thank organizers for letting me present my study online. So I'm Anna Balkina. I'm a research fellow at Freie Universität in Berlin. And I would like to present my study about paper mills. So paper mills are companies that offer papers at demand and they sell co-authorship places in the paper. Currently, we don't know how many papers are from paper mills in academic literature. More than 3,000 papers are documented as papers from paper mills, and there is evidence of paper mills existing in China and in Iran. This study represents an analysis of a paper mill in Russia with an international scope. So this paper mill is called International Publisher. It offers co-authorship slots for sale listed openly since December 2018. During 3 years, from 2019 till 2021, this paper mill offered 2,000 papers for sale. And the price range for co-authorship varies from 180 euros, it's about $180, to $1,000. So this is the typical offer of the paper mill that you can find online on Web Archive. I collected the offers since 2019. It is a Google translated. So you have a similar, a typical or just approximate topic. And if you Google this topic, you can find a paper with a similar title. And then you see that also the year matches, the number of co-authors matches, and the country of the journal. So we can say that this paper potentially originates from a paper mill. All the papers that I could identify, I placed in a list in a Google Doc. It's openly access list. And also I present all the matches of the offers with the real papers. It is regularly updated list, and the last updates I did in July 2022. And it was possible to identify 451 papers. They were published in 159 authentic journals and 3 hijacked journals. Hijacked journals represent fraudulent websites that mimic original journals, and they copy their title and other metadata. There will be a presentation about hijacked journals on Saturday. It is our joint study with Guillaume Cabanac, Cyril Labé, and Alexander Magazinov. So these papers were co-authored by more than 800 scholars affiliated with more than 300 universities from at least 39 countries. And the majority of co-authorship slots were purchased by Russian scholars, scholars from Kazakhstan and China, but there are also scholars from European countries and also from United States who purchased co-authorship slots in this paper mill. This is a paper, an example of paper that potentially originates from a paper mill, because actually, if you look at it, it's a paper about polymer film coating. It's something chemical engineering, and it is co-authored by a scholar from medical university and a scholar from university specialized in finance. It looks really suspicious, because when we analyze this amount, this 451 papers, we can make a list of indicators how it is possible to detect these papers in academic literature. And so I defined these collaborations as suspicious collaborations because co-authors might not be familiar with each other. They do not have common research interests. They are affiliated with different universities. It means that there is a diversity of affiliations per paper. The co-authors can be specialized in different disciplines. It might not specialize in the topic of the paper. Also, there is a typical number of co-authors in these papers from 3 to 5, like typical number of co-authorship slots for sale. And also, in these papers, it is possible to detect total alphabetical disorder that doesn't correspond to traditions in certain disciplines, like in economics. Also, this sample allows us to understand why this paper mill is so successful to publish papers in different journals. This graph represents number of papers published per individual journal. And we can see that in 104 journals, only one paper was published that originates from this paper mill. And if we refer to COPE recommendations, so COPE recommends to look at similarities between manuscripts, templates that are similar. In this case, editors are not able to see these similarities because they receive just only one paper from this paper mill. But also there are other suspicious collaborations that was possible to detect, because in some journals there are a lot of papers published. In case of one publisher, it was possible to detect suspicious collaboration with editors, where editors were both co-authors of papers from this paper mill, and there were academic editors and editors of special issues. And another case, suspicious collaboration with journals itself, and one author offers to publish 10 papers in a special issue in a journal, and it was possible to detect 9 papers in this issue that potentially originate from this paper mill. Also, this paper mill collaborated with hijacked journals, but I guess it was duped by hijacked journals because 22 papers were published in hijacked journals. But because of the fact that this paper mill has an official legal contract with the scholars, and this paper mill is obliged to publish and index a paper in international citation databases, and because of the fact hijacked journals are not indexed or are deleted from international scientometric databases, this paper mill republished papers from hijacked journals with the same set of co-authors on a exact the same topic, and it was possible to detect 16 papers that were republished in so now I go to a conclusions slide. So paper mills are a business. The price of approximately 2,000 papers offered during 3 years reached $6.5 million. Some papers potentially originating from this paper mill acknowledge grant organizations, and it means the waste of grant money or budget money. More than half of these papers are cited, and some of them are well cited. It is the strategy of how this paper mill collaborates with journals, or how this paper mill submits papers to journals, made us think that the current system of paper mill detection should be regularly monitored and improved, because this policy to look at similarities doesn't work with this paper mill, but more attention should be paid to suspicious collaboration detection. All the more, a lot of paper mills are still not discovered. And just recently, several weeks ago, I found another broker company paper mill that is called, I call it TANUPRO. This is the TANUPRO, this is the name of a web domain where majority of papers submitted by this broker company, they are submitted with the email TANUPRO. And especially for this presentation today, I published the list of 580 papers originating from this broker company. And also we did a selected study of some papers from this paper mill, where there was a open peer review, and we detected very flow peer review and also possible fake identities of peer reviewers, and we wrote a preprint together with Dorothy Bishop. Also, two more points, that transparency is not working. So there are a lot of publications about paper mills by Science, Nature, Attraction Watch. And so paper mills, they change their strategy, but they don't disappear. And also journals' reaction is a challenge for academic community, because journals, they don't reply or don't investigate, and the same as publishers. Thank you very much. And I have a Twitter where I tell stories about paper mills and also hijacked journals. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Anna. We have people lining up at the microphones here in the audience. So we'll start on my left here.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Lex Bouter from Amsterdam. I'm involved in research integrity conferences in many ways. This was a great talk, and I thank you for that. There clearly is a market for fake papers. You show that. I fear that we are losing the battle, maybe, and your last remarks went in that direction as well. You and other people, great people involved in detecting these fake papers, are just making these companies more clever. Should we not head for another direction and look at reasons why people are interested in paying for fake papers, and maybe these problems that might be perverse incentives one way or the other, they might be difficult to solve as well, but maybe we should head in that direction. My question is, do you agree, and what are your thoughts on these things? Because you have been a lot of thinking about the issue.
You know, I'm thinking about it during last days. Exactly, just, and I have something to say. First of all, the paper mill detection is done on a voluntary basis by a limited number of people. This is a pro bono work. What does it mean? It means that nobody is nowadays, nobody is responsible for detection of fraudulent papers in academic literature. So maybe one can think, well, academic community should do that. I would say that it's quite sophisticated job to do, and not everybody can do that, to detect fraudulent papers. And so my first concern, and answering your question, that currently in the academic community, well, nobody is responsible. So maybe publishers should do something about that, and they started to hire research integrity experts to detect fraudulent submissions. The second problem, during Congress hearings in July 2022, there was a question, but what we should do? Maybe we create more journals that publish papers with negative results. No, it won't help, because what paper mills will do, they will offer more papers with negative results. So that's just a bigger offer of their papers. I guess that the publication pressure in certain countries is the main incentive to use the services of such fraudulent companies. And something about research evaluation should be done to stop the high demand for such papers, because the problem is not only to clean the literature, to detect fraudulent papers, but also to work in the field of incentives and on the field of demand of such papers. Because nowadays there is very high demand, as per what I can see.
Thank you, Anna. We'll go to the next question at the microphone.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Jennifer Byrne from the University of Sydney. We study problematic papers in the preclinical literature. So Anna, I'm very interested in your study because I think it's quite unique in that you're studying a single paper mill. What is not really clear in biomedical science is where there are many problematic papers published in journals, whether this reflects single paper mills submitting large numbers of manuscripts or many paper mills submitting smaller numbers. So I'm wondering, in the case of your results where you show that the majority of journals publish one manuscript from this paper mill, whether you've looked at any of those journals to see whether those journals publish other papers with similar features that might indicate that there are multiple paper mills targeting these journals.
Jennifer, thank you very much for your question. So you know what, I would answer in the following way. Using this suspicious collaboration pattern, it is possible to detect hundreds and hundreds of papers, very suspicious papers. And I guess they originate from other paper mills or broker companies that work in Eastern Europe. And there is evidence, there is a study on papers with such suspicious collaborations, and some of them contain translation plagiarism, so they are fraudulent. So I guess that this suspicion collaboration pattern can explain, not only in the case of this very Russian paper mill, but this pattern can be used as an indicator of those paper mills that offer co-authorship slots for sale. I guess my answer will be in that way.
Thank you. We will have time for one more question, I'm afraid, and I will go to Michael for the virtual audience.
Thank you, Veronique. And a reminder that if your questions are unanswered on the floor, you can leave them online. Bahar Memani is encouraging you, Dr. Abalkina, to share your findings with Scopus and the Web of Science team, presumably so they're aware of the issues with these papers. And Ernest NK is asking a question about basically the profit motive in medical publishing more generally. How do we balance between making the publishing business profitable, paying authors, reviewers, and publishers, and churning papers that promote science? So see what you can do with that.
Well, I don't think that academic community should care about profits of publishers. I think this is not the responsibility of academic community, because academic community, what can do is to control the quality of papers by peer review. So this is my answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anna, for a great talk and for taking the questions online.